And a super PAC supporting Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' bid for the presidency is changing some operations and ending others. The Never Back Down super PAC has halted door-to-door operations in the early voting state of Nevada, along with the Super Tuesday states of North Carolina and Texas. An official for the PAC says it will be reinvesting in the early voting states of Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. The PAC is also criticizing an alleged pro-Donald Trump bias in Nevada and other states. A Never Back Down official tells NewsNation that this does not mean that the DeSantis campaign is losing steam. This follows a series, though, of shakeups in the campaign, including laying off dozens of staffers and replacing his campaign manager. To discuss all of this further, let's welcome now Republican strategist Jon Seaton. He has worked on the campaigns of George W. Bush, Lindsey Graham, and John McCain. Jon, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you. So the DeSantis Never Back Down, suspending door-knocking operations in Nevada, Texas, and North Carolina. Some are speculating this campaign may be losing steam. What's your read?
Well, you never want the super PAC or an outside entity to be the story at all. They're really better seen and not heard. So anytime that there's a focus on the process of the campaign or the operations of the campaign, it really detracts from the candidate and from the campaign's message. I'm certain that the DeSantis campaign would much more rather speak about his response to Hurricane Idalia, his vision for the future, how he intends to win the general election. And instead, they're kind of mired in these process stories, we call them, that really don't do the campaign very much good.
You know, and to your point, Jon, we've been seeing DeSantis leading preparations and recovery efforts during the hurricane. Do you think that will ultimately give him a boost in the polls?
Look, I think that when voters take a measure of a presidential candidate, they want to close their eyes and envision, can they see this person as a president? So while no one, of course, wants to see a hurricane or a natural disaster hit their state, it does give him the opportunity to look like an executive, look in charge, and show voters that he can handle the tough situations that would come at him if he were to be elected president.
And switching gears now, Georgia Governor Kemp says he won't step in to investigate the Fulton County prosecutor and says that calling an emergency session of the state legislature could be unconstitutional. What's your read?
I think Governor Kemp has done a very good job of kind of putting aside partisan politics, putting aside his own personal feelings, and just enforcing the law. And I think he has been a very steady hand in Georgia. And I think the voters of Georgia overwhelmingly rewarded him with a big win in both the primary and the general election.
Unconstitutional, though, do you think that is the case here?
Yeah, I'm not an attorney, certainly not a constitutional attorney, so I don't want to weigh in on that specifically. But I think that if you look at Governor Kemp's record throughout his tenure in Georgia, he has really done his best to enforce the law, to, again, put aside his personal feelings or partisan politics and just do his job. And I think that, again, voters clearly appreciate that. In a state that's been trending pretty close in other races, Governor Kemp won with a very strong majority in 2022.
All right, I think staying out of those waters is a smart move, Jon. So a judge has ruled that the trial in Atlanta will be streamed live. What are the biggest implications of this in your view?
Well, first of all, I'm old enough literally to remember being in college during the O.J. Simpson trial when instead of running back to our dorms to check the ball game or see what else was going on, we all, ran in to see what was going to happen in the O.J. trial. This is going to be the biggest courtroom spectacle since then, probably bigger. We didn't have Twitter back then or social media. So you're going to see a lot of people becoming legal experts and talking about American jurisprudence and other issues. So this is going to be, I think, a huge event. We'll see who plays the role of Judge Ito this time around. But I'll also say that I think that it's going to really take the oxygen away from anyone else trying to get attention in the presidential campaign or any other political matters. It's going to be something that's going to be talked about on all the cable networks and all the national broadcasts every night. It's going to be very, very difficult for anyone to get a lot of traction other than Donald Trump. And quite frankly, I think that's just fine with both Donald Trump and President Biden. I think they are both fine with the attention being on him.
Oh, we'll see how that translates to the polls. Jon Seaton, thank you as always.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.